What's a life hack that's so simple yet so effective? You're shocked more people don't know about it? When looking at recipes online, click the print link. This cuts out the unnecessary backstory and random musings. You can also save the recipe as a PDF to your computer or even just the link to the printable version. You mean to tell me after 20 years of having to read how this lasagna came to be after women, including the names and locations of 20 of them, all decided to get together at one huge party? The year was 1942. Spring, almost, and the robins had just come back from, that I could have skipped all that. All that? Shut the front door. I deserve to be sent straight to jail for not knowing this. Create a routine for before exercise. I do the same things every time I go to the gym. When I'm not motivated, those little pre-workout habits just trigger me into action. Habit stacking. Adam Savage does this on his YouTube channel. He has a bin or two of random DC chargers in his workshop and each one is marked, typically in silver paint pen, with what it originally came with. Another awesome tip from Adam that my ADHD ass uses regularly is this. I need to find a thing, I own this thing, but I don't know where it is. Look for it in the first place. Look for it in another place. Repeat until I find it. Okay, that's all obvious enough. Here's the brilliant part. When I finally find the damn thing, instead of trying to remember where it was, I found it, I just moved it to the first place I looked. Yeah. He talks about organization in his book too, if I remember correctly. Jamie wants to store all the hammers together so he knows where the hammers are. One time I was tripping on acid and had this incredible epiphany that was going to unite the whole world, solve all conflicts and bring everybody to a place of empathy and peace. I furiously wrote it down so I wouldn't forget, and a few hours later, I finally fell asleep. I woke up the next morning and looked over at the memo pad next to my bed and saw a half-crumpled note written in frenzied, scribbled handwriting that said, "You know you were here, yes that's what you think, but that's what you think." Ladies and gentlemen, the secret to everything. Years ago my father had a dream every night where he learned the secret of life. He could remember that part in the morning but not the secret. He started keeping paper by his bed so he could scribble it down, and one night he had a dream and scribbled it down and was so happy when he remembered in the morning. He looked at the paper, all he had written was one word, chair. Similar. One night, I dreamed up the funniest joke I'd ever heard. I woke up and in my half-awake state, I wrote the joke down on my phone and went back to sleep. Ladies and gentlemen, the funniest joke ever told: a dog fell over. My fiancé has these epiphanies when he's stoned and they make no sense to anyone but him. One night he woke up and decided to write down some fantastic story he came up with. He got a sentence or two in and then was too stoned to remember the rest, lol. But he had written, "I know he's the king. But he's not your king. He's my king. And we need to get a new king. And the king is your king. The new king." At the time, he was telling me about how inspiration just struck and it was the greatest thing he's ever written. The next morning he had no clue what he was even trying to say. Or where the heck that was supposed to go. Once my BF and I were on shrooms and were having a discussion about things and he stumbled across the meaning of life. The meaning of life. Are you ready? Is that we are here to contain moisture. All our life is about preventing moisture from getting to us. Be it working to keep a roof over our heads, or paying utility bills to dry towels and buy paper towels to clean up spills, or glasses to hold liquids. But also because our innards are liquid, also about keeping those liquids inside of us. Yep, that's it. It made a lot of sense at the moment. And honestly it still kind of makes sense now, if you think about it. To do this, I send a text to myself. Sometimes, if I want to remember something in the future, I'll schedule the text to be delivered to me on the appropriate date. Yes, I have so many people tell me, "Oh, you're so good at remembering things." No, I write it down, set an alarm, or create a reminder in the moment because I know I'm not going to remember, and this helps. I lost my list. No, seriously. I'm a commercial business loan officer. I had an appointment scheduled for a guy who wanted a business loan to start a new business. He no-showed. I called him to reschedule. He said that he relies on reminder texts and emails for appointments, and I probably should have texted him. I'm still laughing. Dude thinks his loan office, which he's asking for money from, is his secretary. To increase your peace of mind, don't waste your time arguing with random strangers on the internet. Store cans of baked beans upside down so you don't have to scrape them out the bottom when you open the can. Or open them upside down. If you're making coffee in an automatic drip coffee maker, especially a cheap one, leaving a little bit of water in the carafe, about an ounce or so, will significantly improve the flavor. It prevents the first bit of brewed coffee from becoming scorched from the hot plate and flavoring the entire pot. I always do this in hotels. My maker at home only starts the hot plate about 3 minutes into the brew, and it's just a Mr. Coffee drip machine. From working in technical support for longer than I dare think about, most angry customers just want to be heard. Let them have their rant, do active listening, and make notes about what they're saying. They will eventually run out of steam. Then, read back everything they talked about and go through it step by step. Works almost every time, and often they are very thankful by the end of the call. Another tip: instead of asking the customer if something's plugged in, ask them to check if the plug's prongs are corroded. After they check, they'll unconsciously plug it back in. This reminds me of how I used to trick people into remembering their passwords when I worked at a cell phone store. Take their phone, pretend I'm opening up some special password reset program. Hand them back, and ask them to enter their new password, and I'd say, about 70% of the time, they enter their current password and gain access. If you like this, you'll love the time I hooked up a USB barcode scanner to a phone with a broken screen, created a barcode of their password, and scanned it to unlock the phone. So we could connect it to the computer to get their photos and stuff. Hack 1: when you paint a room and remove the light switch plate. On the inside of the plate, write down the color of the paint you used. And the brand. Great for when you need to repaint a spot a couple of years later. Hack 2: after you wash and dry a set of sheets, put the top sheet, bottom sheet, and pillowcase all inside one of the pillowcases. Then you have the whole set together in one neat little package and don't have to look for matching sheets and pillowcases. While you have the switch cover off, write down the circuit breaker number. I am extremely organized except where my keys are concerned. I lost them several times a week. Then I saw the comedian John Richardson saying that people with keys are putters or leavers. I was a leaver, leaving my keys lying around, so I decided to be a putter. As soon as I get in, I put my keys straight into my bag. It seems so stupid, but it works and has saved me a lot of stress. Going to bed at a consistent time to get enough sleep. Really prioritizing it. It makes life so much better and easier. Health improvements in every aspect, both mental and physical. People live their lives chronically underslept, and it causes all types of chaos in their lives. They think it's freedom to stay up late or go to bed whenever they want. Usually covering up a cycle of revenge bedtime procrastination. But they are, unbeknownst to themselves, in an underslept zombie prison of their own making. I got no sleep last night. Feel like crap. I have this vicious cycle of feeling exhausted all day. Then once I put the kids to bed and leave it, it's around 8:30 p.m. and I'm wide awake. I'm exhausted all day. It drives me insane.
Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.